when we look at and I'm speaking about the community, but also yourself directly, when we look at this disclosure that appears to be happening and is possibly, I'm just saying possibly or allegedly, coming directly from the Pentagon, and then we have the other elements of disclosure, like what Bassett is doing or what Greer is doing or others out there, that it's coming forward, but nobody has the same view on it. Who do we trust here, or do we trust nobody?
I learned a long time ago that I don't have any heroes. I'm not expecting to find a hero. I'm not expecting to find somebody to look up to. And I think the fact that most of us try to do that is actually a weakness. I don't want to be seen as a hero. I'm just an ordinary guy. People hang out with me, and I'll talk about stuff that has nothing to do with UFOs or consciousness. If they ask me, I'll talk about it. I don't get all wrapped up in weird metaphysical mumbo jumbo. I try to ground everything in science. So that's the gift. That's the gift of what you're doing, Jimmy, is it's the free will. Everybody has the option to decide what they want to believe. And so I'm not asking people to take my word for it. All I'm saying is that I will always do the very best that I can to provide you with the truth, to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my understanding. If anything that I am working on seems to get picked apart and is credible, I will acknowledge that. I don't run away from people doing accurate skepticism. What is upsetting is that instead of people doing a skeptical rebuttal of the actual data, they tend to just descend into character assassination. You know, I gained some weight, and then they say, oh my God, David is going to get diabetes type 2, and he's eating himself to death, right? And it's like I gained maybe 10 pounds. It's ridiculous, the stuff that happens. I'm sure you've seen plenty of this.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And this is what I find a little bizarre, and I'm trying to get through this, which is the deep state, the military-industrial complex, the Pentagon, the White House, NSA, CIA. Doesn't matter who you speak about here, but they have done everything they can to humiliate and discredit and embarrass anybody inside of the UFO community. And now,
in the past.
But let me finish now.
Go
now
ahead.
It's my turn to finish.
Go ahead.
Is this now we are being asked to embrace members of the Pentagon and the Department of Defense as a messiah type figure? That
right.
and it's I have a problem with that, and so does the UFO community in general. But,
absolutely.
But what do we do with this? I mean, it's I have issues with that. I need more time and space before I feel comfortable in accepting somebody or something or a project that worked in counterintelligence, right? I mean, I have issues with that. What do you think is actually going on?
Well, you were the one that tipped me off about the hot air balloon photo.
Right.
That was coming out from To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, which is Tom DeLonge's disclosure initiative. Now, I don't think he knew that. I can't imagine that a guy like him would put his career and his personal finances on the line and then come forward with something that had that kind of a flaw in it. But I do think if he is listening, and he very well may be, you got to step back, dude, and you got to think, did the people that gave you that information know that it was flawed, and did they lie to you? Because if that's true, then there could be other reasons for why they contacted you and what they're really trying to do than what they told you. And when you're dealing with people from the CIA, of which several of these people are, you have to look beneath the surface. And that's what we all do. That's why we're conspiracy theorists, right?
Right.
Everything's a conspiracy.
Everything.
So we can't just trust this. And the fact is, as I said to you in our conversation yesterday, Jimmy, all somebody has to do is fire one shot in a battle, and now they've compromised their location. Now you know where they are. They can't fire another one without everybody triangulating on them, and they'll be gone. So in a sense, it's kind of amazing that you, as far as I know, you were the one that figured out that hot air balloon thing first. And you're the first person I heard from about it. You called me on the phone. I couldn't believe it because I wanted this thing to be great. I wanted this thing to be clean and, okay, the government is finally coming forward. They're finally telling us the truth. But there's something off about it. There's somebody was lying, right? And if I was going to be an attorney and we're prosecuting a case here, this is probable cause for there to be an ulterior motive. And then the question is, cui bono, who benefits, right? What's the benefit? This is what everybody needs to be asking right now. What is the benefit for disclosure to be happening today? What do they gain from this? Is there a payoff about telling us the truth about UFOs or appearing to tell us the truth?
What is the payoff? Do you have a list?
I believe I got it. I mean, the real story here is this battle that is underway between an alliance that is actually very old, depending on which aspect of it you look at, and what we could call the deep state. And the bottom line is that this battle has been fought covertly, and probably as much as 90% of what's been going on is completely outside the scope of any access that anybody in the public has. And this battle is going into its final phases. Up until just in the last, well, pretty much for this whole year of 2018, so 6 months now, our briefings on this battle have dried up. And especially now, I would say, very recently, it's now like a moratorium. Like there's literally no intel coming in. And I've always, in the past, been able to get dribs and drabs of it. And I'll also do the research and I'll look at who's leaking things online and how can we correlate actual provable fact to what people are saying. For example, if somebody is claiming to be an insider and they talk about something and then that something comes true and there would have been no other way to anticipate such a twist in history, then you know that person is at least partially correct. I don't ever fall into the fallacy of expecting that one insider or one source is 100% true.
You can't.
I think that's a big mistake.
Right, right. Can't do it.
And so that's what's happened with the Tom DeLonge thing, is we don't know now if any of it is true, and we have to look at everything with a different way of looking. The two things that everybody accuses us of, and us meaning this entire community, is ego and money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with the ego thing is, when I speak about things, I've been doing research on this my entire life, and I, for most of my life, researched 14 hours a day. I didn't watch TV. I didn't have friends. I didn't go out to eat dinner because I didn't have any money. All I did is sit and read books and read the internet and study. And so when people say, well, you know, he's so confident, the confidence comes from the fact that I've done the work. And so the ego thing, yes, in the past, I think all of us, as we fight this war, we would like to see our work get more recognition than it does. And when it doesn't, we might tend to want to inflate ourselves and say things to laud our qualifications, to boost up our persona so that we'll get more attention. I did do some of that stuff in the past. I really don't try to do that now. I don't need to prove anything. You know, if people get upset, I'm sorry that I'm not more active. I do kind of feel like John Lennon. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round.
Right.
You know, that song was really him coming forward and apologizing for taking a few years off and not doing any music. And then he was getting ready to become really politically active, and look at what happened right after that.
Right. Right.
Boom.
Right. Yeah.
So that's part of the problem is, you know, the people that are attacking us online, and I'm speaking to them because they're going to hear this show, okay? You guys have to understand. First of all, nobody's getting rich on this. Second of all, I don't need to be famous. I don't really want to be famous. That's why I moved into the middle of nowhere, so that I don't have to deal with that stuff as much. I'm not in this for anything except that I want this whole planet to be safe and to be prosperous and to move into a truly educated, enlightened era, because we're not there now. It's just insane, the stuff that we're seeing. And a lot of people, if you don't really understand the spiritual side of this, it would appear that it's getting worse. So there's my diatribe.
Well said, David. Well said.